He chose her, he went back to her, or he never truly left her, and yet here he is again, in your messages, in your thoughts, showing up just enough to remind you that he exists, just enough to keep the door open, just enough to make you wonder if maybe this time is different. And the most painful part, you are not angry, you are not cold, you are not over it. Because somewhere between everything that happened and everything that was almost said, you started to believe in a version of this story where he finally sees what he is losing, where he finally becomes the man you know he can be, where the love you felt was not a mistake but a preview. Stay with me, because what I am about to tell you is not going to be easy, but it is going to be the most important thing you hear today. Because the truth about why he keeps coming back to you while still choosing her is not what most people think. And once you see it clearly, you will never look at this situation the same way again. Let's start with the question every woman in this situation eventually asks. If she is so important to him, why does he keep finding his way back to me? And the answer is uncomfortable. Because it is not always about love. It is not always about a hidden deep connection that destiny is trying to complete. And it is very rarely about you not being enough. What is most often happening is this. He has separated his emotional world into containers. One container holds his life, the relationship, the routine, the comfort, the identity he shows to the world. The other container holds his aliveness, the version of himself that feels something, wants something, aches for something more than what he has settled into. And you are living inside the second container. That sounds powerful. And in a strange way, it feels powerful at first. Being the woman who wakes him up, being the woman who makes him feel something real, being the woman who he says understands him in a way no one else does. But here is what no one tells you about living in that second container. You get the version of him that is passionate. You get the intensity, the vulnerability, the raw emotional honesty. But you do not get his mornings. You do not get his loyalty. You do not get the version of him that shows up when life gets hard and boring and ugly and real, because that version is committed elsewhere. And so you are left holding the most alive parts of a man who has given the most available parts of him to someone else. That is not romance. That is a transaction you never agreed to. Let me be honest with you about something that most people are afraid to say. This pattern is designed to keep you in it, not deliberately, not always consciously. But the push and pull you feel, the closeness followed by distance, the intensity followed by silence, the moments where everything feels real, followed by weeks where you question if any of it was that cycle, is addictive by nature. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement, and it is the same mechanism behind the most powerful and destructive emotional bonds human beings form. When reward is unpredictable, when warmth and coldness arrive without pattern, your nervous system does not detach. It locks in. It becomes hypervigilant. It starts spending enormous energy trying to decode, predict, and influence the outcome. And in doing so, it mistakes obsession for love. Think about the moments when you feel the most connected to him. Are they calm moments, stable moments, or are they the moments right after he pulls away? The moments when he comes back? The moments when he says something so perfectly real that it dissolves every doubt you had for a second? That is not the rhythm of a healthy attachment. That is the rhythm of a wound being reopened and temporarily soothed over and over again. And here is what makes it even more dangerous. You are not weak for falling into this. You are not foolish. You are not broken. You are human. You are responding exactly the way a loving, emotionally intelligent person responds to someone who shows them real glimpses of genuine connection and then takes it away. The problem is not your capacity to love. The problem is where you are directing that capacity. Now let's talk about him, not to excuse him, but to understand what is actually happening inside a man who does this. Because most women in this situation spend enormous energy trying to understand his behavior from the outside. They analyze his texts. They replay his words. They ask their friends. They lie awake at 2 a.m. building theories. But the real story is happening on the inside. And it goes something like this. He is not a villain. He is not a predator in most cases. He is a man living with a very specific kind of inner conflict. The conflict between the life he has built and the life he secretly wonders about. He chose his relationship. Maybe he loved her when he chose her. Maybe he still does, in the way you can love something that has become so familiar it feels like part of your identity. But somewhere along the way, something went quiet inside him. The excitement softened. The uncertainty that once made love feel alive flattened into predictability. And rather than doing the terrifying grown-up work of addressing that, rather than being honest with his partner or with himself, he went looking for the feeling outside. That is where you entered his story. Not as a person, at first, as a feeling, as the feeling of being awake again, the feeling of being desired in a new way, the feeling of being seen through fresh eyes that do not carry the history and the weight and the disappointments that his current relationship now holds. He told himself it was different with you. He told himself it was rare. He told himself that surely something this powerful means something, and maybe he even told you those things. But here is the question you must sit with. Was he describing you, or was he describing what you represent to him, which is the escape he has been quietly building in his mind for months? Because those are two very different things. And a man who is in love with the feeling you give him has not necessarily fallen in love with you. He has fallen in love with who he gets to be when he is with you, with the relief you offer from the life he has not had the courage to change. And you deserve to know the difference, because you cannot build a real future with someone who needs you to remain a fantasy. Not every man who does this is doing it for the same reason. And understanding which type you are dealing with can save you from making a decision based on the wrong diagnosis. The first type is the emotionally avoidant man. This man genuinely cares about you. He is not using you cynically, but he has never developed the emotional tools to sit inside conflict and work through it. When his relationship becomes difficult, he does not lean in. He reaches outward. He finds relief rather than resolution. He is drawn to you because you feel easy, not because his problems are solved, but because with you, he does not have to face them yet. This man often seems sensitive, deep, even poetic in his emotional language. But he cannot sustain what he offers you because the emotional depth he shows you in stolen moments is depth he is avoiding bringing into his real life. The second type is the man in a genuinely dead relationship. This man is in a relationship that has truly broken down. There is no intimacy. There is no real connection. He stays out of habit, guilt, fear of change, shared responsibilities, or the terrible weight of not wanting to hurt someone he once loved, even if he is no longer in love. He is drawn to you not to escape a good relationship, but to breathe in a suffocating one. This man may actually have real feelings for you, but until he does the honest and painful work of ending what is over, he cannot truly begin something new. And if he asks you to wait while he figures things out, you must decide how long your life is worth putting on hold for a man who has not yet chosen clarity. The third type is the pattern repeater. This man has done this before, not once, multiple times. There is a history of emotional affairs, a history of almost relationships, a history of women who were the exception that never quite became the rule. He is not malicious in his own mind. He genuinely feels everything he says he feels in the moment. But his feelings are temporary weather systems, not sustained climates. He chases aliveness compulsively and mistakes new intensity for deep connection every single time. Being with this man is like standing in a revolving door. The view is always slightly different, but you end up in the same place. The question is, do you know which man you are standing in front of? Here is what sits at the center of all of this. He is afraid that if he loses you, he loses the version of himself he only gets to be when he is with you. Not you specifically. The feeling of being that version of himself. The version that is passionate. The version that is emotionally present. The version that says the kind of things in a quiet moment that he would never say in the ordinary rhythm of his daily life. He has convinced himself that this feeling only exists with you. That this quality of emotion is only possible in the secret space you two have created. That it cannot exist in a fully honest, fully committed, fully open relationship. But that is a lie he is telling himself. And deep down, a part of him knows it. Because the truth is this, passion does not die in commitment. Avoidance kills passion. The hunger you are feeling in stolen moments and restricted conversations is not the natural state of deep love. It is the artificial inflation that comes from scarcity. Everything feels more precious when it might be taken away. Everything feels more intense when it has to be hidden. That is not chemistry. That is deprivation mistaken for magic. Real intimacy, the kind that sustains a life, the kind that you can actually rest inside, does not need secrecy to survive. It does not shrink when it enters the light. It does not depend on you staying in a defined role. It grows in the open. It deepens through honesty. It becomes more, not less, when two people show their full selves. What he has with you may feel like fire, but fire that must be kept hidden from the world is not warmth. It is a house burning quietly from the inside. Pay very close attention here, because this is the moment that reveals everything. The moment you stop being as available as you were, the moment you pull back, the moment you start protecting your energy, the moment you make it clear that you will not wait forever, something shifts in him. And one of two things happens. Either he wakes up, the reality of losing you becomes more real than the comfort of staying stuck. He makes a decision. He has a real, honest conversation with his partner. He takes a painful step. He shows up in your life not as a secret, but as a choice, not with promises and poetry, but with action. Real, visible, costly action. Or he panics. He reaches out with more intensity than ever before. He says things that go straight to the center of your hope. He tells you he has been thinking. He tells you he misses you. He tells you that being without you has made him realize something. He pulls you close just enough to ease his own anxiety at the idea of losing access to you. And then when his world stabilizes again, when the urgency fades, he retreats back to exactly where he was before. Learn to tell the difference between a man who is waking up and a man who is simply panicking. Waking up costs him something. Panicking costs you something. A man who is finally choosing you will not keep you waiting in the dark while he takes weeks to decide. A man who is waking up does not ask for your continued patience without offering you continued proof. The words will be similar, the evidence will be completely different. I want to be honest with you about something that is rarely spoken about in these conversations. While you are waiting for him to choose, you are already making a choice of your own. You are choosing to make yourself emotionally unavailable for anyone else who might actually be ready for you. You are choosing to spend your clearest emotional energy, the kind that could build something extraordinary, on decoding someone else's confusion. You are choosing to shrink, not visibly, not dramatically, but quietly. You start editing yourself around him to avoid the thing that might push him away. You do not express that need because it feels like too much. You soften that boundary because you do not want to seem difficult. You swallow that honest feeling because you have learned, in this dynamic, that being too real is a risk. You have been slowly trained to present only the parts of yourself that keep him comfortable. And the longer you do that, the more distance you create between yourself and your own instincts. This is the cost that nobody adds up until later. Not the time, not the tears, but the self. The slow erosion of the woman who knew what she deserved before she met someone who made compromise feel romantic. You may not be able to see it yet, but someone who loves you from the outside is watching you disappear in slow motion. And one day, hopefully soon, you are going to look in the mirror and remember her again. The version of you who did not wait to be chosen. The version of you who was not someone's beautiful secret. The version of you who understood in her bones that she was worth someone's full presence, not just their most convenient moments. She has not gone anywhere. She is right there waiting for you to come back to her. Before I tell you what to do, I need you to do something first. I need you to sit with a few questions, not quick answers, real ones, because the answers to these questions will tell you everything you need to know. When you imagine a future with him, a real one, mornings, arguments, hard seasons, ordinary Tuesdays, does that future feel real to you? Or does it feel like a feeling you are chasing rather than a life you can actually picture? If he were single tomorrow, fully free, no complications, no one to leave, are you certain he would build something real with you? Or is the longing partly fueled by the very impossibility of the situation? Are you staying because you genuinely believe in this specific person's capacity to love you fully? Or are you staying because walking away would mean admitting that something you felt so deeply was not what you believed it to be? Have you been yourself in this dynamic? Fully, complexly, inconveniently yourself? Or have you been the version of yourself that this specific situation required you to be? These questions are not meant to hurt you. They are meant to locate you. Because so many women in this situation have slowly drifted far from their own center while focusing all their compass power on someone else's direction. You are the story. He is a chapter. Do not give the chapter more power than the author. Now I want to tell you something about the love you deserve, not in vague romantic terms, in specific terms. You deserve a love that does not require you to be a secret. You deserve a man whose desire for you is not in conflict with his life, but integrated into it. A man who is proud to be known as yours. A man who does not need you to live in the edges of his world, but invites you into the center of it. You deserve consistency that does not arrive in waves. You deserve someone who is equally warm on a Tuesday morning when nothing is exciting and the world is just ordinary, as he is in the charged electric moments when everything feels cinematic. You deserve someone who can hold your complexity, your moods, your needs, your fears, your bad days, your changing mind. Someone who does not only want the exciting, available, easy version of you, but who can sit with the full reality of who you are without flinching. You deserve someone whose actions move in the same direction as his words. And most importantly, you deserve a love that expands you, not a love that slowly teaches you to take less, not a love that makes you an expert in patience and an amateur in joy. A love that makes you more yourself, not less. A love that gives you energy rather than consuming it. A love that makes the world feel larger, not like a waiting room. This is not fantasy. This is not a standard too high. This is the basic dignity of what love is meant to feel like when it is not asking you to pay for it with your own peace. So let me leave you with this. He may be drawn to you. It may even be real in its own complicated way. His feelings may not be entirely performance or manipulation. Some of what he feels for you might be genuine. But genuine is not the same as available. And available is not the same as ready. And ready is not the same as choosing. A man can feel something real for you and still not deserve access to your heart. A man can mean well and still cost you everything. A man can be torn and confused and even sincere in his confusion and still not be the person who gets to build a future with you. Because you are not a consolation. You are not a second chapter in someone else's story. You are not the woman a man runs to when his real life gets hard. You are the woman someone fights for. You are the woman someone restructures their life to make room for. You are the woman someone chooses in the light. Stop auditing yourself trying to figure out what would make him choose clearly. Start asking whether you are choosing yourself clearly. Because the moment you fully, genuinely, unconditionally choose yourself, your standards, your peace, your future, your worth, something remarkable happens. Either he rises to meet that, or he reveals without any further confusion that he was never able to. Either way, you win. And that is not a cold way to look at love. That is the most loving thing you can do, for yourself first, and honestly, even for him, because a woman who knows her worth does not just save herself. Sometimes she is the mirror that finally shows a man the truth about who he has been and who he still has the chance to become. But that is his work to do. Yours is simply this. Come home to yourself. If this reached something deep in you today, something you have been carrying quietly for a long time, leave a comment below. Tell me where you are in this. You are not alone, and you are more than you have been accepting. See you in the next one.